Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. Today is September the 29th. It is a Wednesday, I believe. So hopefully you guys are having a great trading week so far. I'm just going to put the disclaimers up in the left hand corner, so please have a look at those and read them. In the meantime, my name is Becky. My email address is here. That's becky@tradictive.com, and there's also support@tradictive.com. Different email addresses you can use to get hold of us. Now, the 3D market commentary is a video that we put out every day, Monday to Friday, which has basically it's a 15-20 minute video that expands on an email that we send out that has information on 5 major markets in the world, looking at 3 separate elements per market, hence why we call it a 3D market commentary. If you don't already have that email come to you and you'd like it, if you go to tradewithufos.com/Becky, and then you fill in this bit at the top here, get your free Trade with UFOs membership, follow through the steps, then you can get that email sent to you every day. You can also, from this link, book one-on-one coaching with me if you'd like, and you can also come here to ask questions in this public forum that can then be answered in this public forum, which means we can all learn from the same place. So ideally, that's where you'd go to post questions as well. So let me bring up that email that I was talking about that we send out every day, and it obviously correlates with market data as well. So we'll bring up the charts to give you a little bit more context. So it's a 3D approach because we look at 3 separate elements per market. So the first thing we want to know is upcoming market direction. We call it market climate. Where are probabilities? Are probabilities up? Are probabilities down? Therefore, do we go long or short, or do we buy or sell? So we have our AutoClimate app here. It's a free app on most platforms you can use it on. And this helps us to figure out what we're doing because it tells us where the probability lies. Ignore the lines, just focus on the dots. And with the dots, we have thick blue dots. They tell us that probability is upwards, so we should probably look to buy. We have thick red dots. Those tell us that probability is downwards. We should look to sell. And we have thin dots of either colour. Those thin dots tell us that we don't have enough probability either way, in which case we do nothing. We change time frames, we change market. So that's the first thing we want to look at per market, is where do we have probabilities? Up, down, or nowhere. Then we might want to know, if we're going to buy, where are we going to buy? And if we're going to sell, where are we going to sell? And for us, again, we use an app to help us, which is called our AutoUFOs, which is where we are finding unfilled orders. Essentially, we want to know, where are the buyers and where are the sellers? We have an app that again highlights for us and shows us where big stacks of buyers are, gives us the prices that those buyers are waiting, tells us where big stacks of sellers are, and the prices where those sellers are waiting. Why is that helpful? Because if we're buying, if we buy with lots of other buyers, it's more likely to go up. If we're selling, well, if we sell with lots of other sellers, it's more likely to come down. So we want to know where those buyers and sellers are. So again, we use an app to show us where they are. So we'll look at that per market as well. And then we'll look at market volatility. Essentially, how quickly do we expect these markets to move? So we'll look at each of those concepts per market, starting with the S&P 500, which is the US top 500 stocks. Now, with the S&P 500, with the US stock market, I just need to squish it a bit here so we can see our buyers and sellers. We have a confirmed downwards climate, a thick red dot here, probability to the downside. Now, usually the US stock market would go down for 3 candles, and we're on candle number 1. So that tells us we're at the start of what would be a usual move to the downside. So probability that it continues as well, again, based on what usually happens. Now, again, bear in mind I'm using the words probability and statistical and things like that. Nothing is definite, nothing is 100%, nothing is guaranteed, not in life and not in the markets. So we still need to be careful, we still need to manage our risk. You still may have other things that you layer on top of this as well to get greater probability. For us, we use technology to at least show us where the statistical likelihoods lie so that we can make a decision from that. So with the S&P 500, probability downwards with the climate. We also have sell orders just on top of us there at 44.72 to 44.10.75. So sell orders closer. And we have buy orders down here at 41.23 to 40.55.50. So we've got room for price to continue to move down before it meets buyers. We've got sellers close by and we have a confirmed downwards climate. overall probability here to the downside with the S&P. Now, in terms of volatility, all of these numbers tell us what we expect up or down within this given period of time. So up or down in 1 year of 21.94%. So in a day, that's 60.47 points. In a week, that's 133.11 points. And in a month, that's 277.09 points. So that's the S&P 500. Overall, slight probability down here. Now, moving on to the next market, which is oil. Now, in the meantime, it says here about educating yourself. We do a bunch of courses and loads of different things. So by all means, check those out if you think they'll be helpful. It does say here as well, most of them come with a 3-month complimentary access to the apps. AutoClimate is a free app anyway. On most platforms you can get it on. But AutoUFOs is a paid for app. It's a subscription service. You can subscribe directly to the AutoUFOs just straight away. You don't need to do a course in order to have them. But a lot of times it's actually cheaper to do a course and get 3 months for free on the UFOs than it would be to just simply subscribe for the UFOs. So check that out and see what's going to work better for you. Okay, so with oil, we have a confirmed upwards climate, a thick blue dot here, probability upwards. Usually oil would go up for 7 candles on this chart. We're on a daily chart, by the way, on each of these. And we're on candle number 5. So still within what would be a normal move to the upside. We have buy orders beneath us at 71.48 to 69.39. And no sell orders above us, which means, again, probability to the upside. Buyers underneath us, no sellers in the way, with a climate pointing to the upside. So overall probability up here for oil. Now, in terms of volatility, in 1 year, we'd expect it to move up or down of 36.1%. So in a day, that's 1.7 points. In a week, 3.75 points. And in a month, 7.8 points. So that is crude oil. Moving on to the next market, which is gold. Now, gold, let me just load it here. Just whilst I'm loading it here, it says here about coaching and support. We do offer a bunch of coaching and support for free online, which you can join us in many of our sessions. We also respond to emails and support you and answer questions and things like that, all for free. We also have a closed coaching environment, which is a small monthly fee where people get access to more of our time in that closed environment. So I would recommend that as well if you think that would be helpful. Okay, so with gold, we have a thick red dot, probability downwards. Now, usually gold would go down for 7 candles, just rounded that up, and we're on candle number 10. So that tells us that we have gone past what's usual in terms of a move to the downside. However, we've still got room to move down because we've got a little way to go before we hit these buyers. So 1652.8 to 1624.4, that's where we have our closest stack of buyers. And we have sell orders up here at 1866 to 1804.4. So overall, probability to continue down here with gold, not exactly all of the probabilities that we'd want because we have gone over what would be normal in terms of a move downwards, but everything else still pointing down. So still overall probability down here on gold. So volatility wise, we would expect up or down in 1 year, movement of 16.78%. So in a day, that's 18.43 points. In a week, 40.56 points. And in a month, 84.44 points. Okay, looking at the next market here, which is going to be the US dollar. Now, the US dollar, I say all the time, is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every day. So whether you trade it directly or not, be aware of it because it will probably impact the markets that you are trading. Okay. So the US dollar, we have a confirmed upwards climate, a thick blue dot here, probability to the upside. Now, usually the US dollar would go up for 5 candles on a daily chart. We're on candle number 9. So similar to what we've just seen with gold, we are going past what would be a usual move here. In this case with the dollar, usual move to the upside, we've gone past what would be normal. However, similar situation again, we've got room before we hit sellers that can change things. So we have sellers here at 95.375 to 94.775. We have buy orders closer to us, pushing beneath us here at 93.495 to 93.195. So overall, probability upwards here with the US dollar. Now, in terms of volatility, we'd expect in a year movement up or down of 5.23%. It's the least volatile of the markets that we look at, which means in a day, 0.31 points. In a week, 0.68 points, and in 1 month, 1.42 points. So that's the US dollar. Okay, last but not least, let's look at backed Bitcoin. That's the last market. Now it says here, again in the meantime, you can self-schedule a clarification call with us. So if you want to speak with one of our experts about the apps, the subscriptions, the courses, memberships, whatever, you can chat to us, see what's going to help you before you do anything, if anything at all. Okay, so with backed Bitcoin, confirmed downwards climate, thick red dot here, probability downwards. Now, we don't actually know how long Bitcoin usually goes up or down for because it's not old enough yet. It's not been around long enough for us to have the data to say what usually happens or doesn't. So kind of in the dark there, but what we do know is we have probability down. Now we do have sell orders that we are within right now. So these are new sell orders, and those are between 44,777.5 to 40,150. So we are within that stack of sellers at the moment. So again, wouldn't be surprised to see them push price down. We have buy orders down here at 32,820 to 31,615. So again, sellers closer to us, room to move down to the buyers. Overall probability down here with Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin is the most volatile market that we look at. It has an expected move in a year of up or down 88.07%. So in a day, that's 2,338.99 points. In a week, 5,149.05. And in a month, 10,718.6. So that's the movement we'd expect on Bitcoin. So for each of these markets, we've looked at the climate, which is where we have probabilities up or down or nowhere. We've looked at buy and sell UFOs, where we have sellers and buyers that could push price down or up respectively. And we've looked at volatility, how quickly we expect these markets to move. This is all based off of data, technology and apps that we use to help us have more of an objective opinion on the markets. Now speaking of that, we do look at a weekly economic calendar. We get it from fxstreet.com, and what we do is we filter by high impact news. Now I was just talking about looking at the markets objectively. We don't use the news to decide what to buy or when to buy it or when to sell it or anything like that. What we want to know is, are we likely to have scheduled news reports that could create volatility in the markets? Extra volatility increases risk, can also increase reward, so people will think differently about whether or not it's a good or bad thing. Just be aware of it, and again we use this to help us out with that. So today being Wednesday, we have some news coming out in the evening US time on the Chinese yuan. So if you trade markets that are in China or you trade the Chinese yuan, be aware of that. Otherwise, not till really early hours tomorrow morning US, we've got a few news reports on the pound, the euro and the US dollar, and then later on in the day, the Hong Kong dollar, I think that is, Chinese yuan and the Japanese yen. Okay, so just a reminder, if you want to get this email sent to you every day, you just need to go to tradewithufos.com/Becky, get yourself a free Trade with UFOs membership at the start, just fill that in and go through the steps. Then you'll get that email every day, which gives you information on 5 major markets in the world. You can also, from this link, book one-to-one coaching with me and or ask questions publicly so I can answer them publicly and we can all learn from this space. So I will be back on Saturday with a sharpening session, so I'll see you on Saturday. If you have any questions, by all means post it here or send me an email. That's Becky@traddictive.com. Hope you guys have a great rest of your trading week, and